Hey, it's Wojtek here. For a long time I've been getting a lot of messages like how you tune your snare or what do you do to make your snare sound like that, fire, fire, fire. I've been replying to all these messages usually with a couple short sentences, but lately I've decided to make a detailed video on how I actually achieve this sound. In this video I'll work with two different snares which I will tune to a different pitch using the same method. I'll show you exactly what I do, including tuning, recording, mixing and sound processing. You'll also get to see what instruments and equipment I use. Okay, let's start. I start with tuning my main snare. It's a DW vintage steel 14 by 6.5 inch deep snare. I've just changed the heads for the fresh ones. Remo Ambassador coated on top and Remo Ambassador snare side on the bottom. For now both heads are totally loose, so that I can start from scratch. First I take care of the bottom head. I tune it really tight and loosen the wires. This gives me a great snare wires response for every dynamics in every tuning, even the low one. I tighten all the tension rods first using just fingers. Then I evenly turn them higher with a key using a specific pattern. I start with a random tension rod and then go with the opposite one. I tighten the one next to it and then opposite again. I go in the same direction every time. I check for the same pitch near every tension rod. Sorry for my hands condition, I just recently got a puppy, so yeah, you know. Let's go with the top head now. I finger tight all the tension rods first. Then, I evenly tune the head up until the desired pitch. It's nice to check the sound from time to time. You may learn a lot and come across some interesting sounds. This one is my main snare and I like it to be tuned high. When I reach the pitch I'm looking for, I make sure it's the same near every tension rod. I like the sound to be dry, so to reduce overtones, I place two moonshells on the top head. As you can see, there are no magic tricks here. Usually the method works for me perfectly straight away, but I may sometimes need to do some minor adjustments like pitch or wires tension correction. Let's hear the sound. I'll switch between raw snare tracks and the final shape of the mix. I do the same with my side snare. For that I use Ludwig's Supraphonic 14 by 5 inch, which I tune very low. I start off the same way, bottom head very tight and wires quite loose. For the top head I just finger tight all the screws. Here I stop the process and check the pitch. It's often even too high for what I'm looking for, so I go just a hint down. I want that snare to sound fat, short and punchy, so I need to take care of all the uncontrolled overtones and resonance. For the low tuning snares there's no better way to do that than big fat snare drum. Let's hear how it sounds. Again, I'll switch between raw and mixed tracks. keep my snare in tune, I use fish lug locks, which are very quick and easy to use. So once again, to memorize this simple method, we need 4 steps. First one is bottom head very tight. Second one is snare wires quite loose. Third, top head evenly tightened accordingly to the desired pitch. And fourth, overtones treatment. The hand technique aspect of my sound comes from a couple main concepts. When I play, I usually aim the center of the drum. I feel it gives me the fullest sound that I mostly search for. The strong snare accents are powerful rim shots. Ouch. This emphasizes the crack and creates the face-punching sound. My concept of playing the low-tuning snare is different, because I feel it's choking when hit too hard, and rim shots don't work well there. I usually play it quite gently, because only then it gives off the fattest sound. Tuning is very important for the overall sound, but of course it's not the only thing that matters. I'll quickly show you all the other components of my snare sound. See the microphones and their placement. For the main snare I use Shure SM57 on the top head and AKG D40 on the bottom. I really like to record both sides so that I have more control over the sound when mixing. Top mic gives me the overall sound and punch, while the bottom one delivers wires, sensitivity and crack that I really like. I place the top mic around 1 inch above the head and I point it towards the center. The bottom mic is pointed more towards the rim. For the side snare I use AKG P170 condenser microphone on top and AKG P4 on the bottom. Often I don't record the bottom head, so the fact that the top mic is condenser helps me a lot in capturing the brightness and crack from the snare wires.
Microphone placement is important for the sound that you get, so I strongly advise you to try out different options and look for the one that works for you the best.
Another component of my sound is mixing and sound processing. Just to be clear, I'm not an expert at mixing, and what I do here is based purely on the trial and error method. I mix mostly just drums, and my methods may not really work well with the other instruments. Also, my mixes are made strictly for social media needs, so you are listening mostly on the devices like smartphones, tablets, where the speakers are not the best quality, so my main goal in the mix is to make everything pop out of your device and be punchy and clear. But anyway, I work in Logic Pro X software and I use just the basic built-in plugins, so EQ, compressor and reverb. I usually leave the bottom mic tracks raw for both snares. They are just the addition to the main mix. Sometimes, when I need to brighten the snare sound, I add a bit high frequencies there. For the top microphone, I use EQ that highly boosts mostly high frequency. Yeah, I like it to be bright. Then I go up with around 2 kHz and 245 Hz. For the side snare, I do the same, but also add some low frequencies to emphasize the fatness. I use a built-in compressor for both snare drums, using a factory preset for the snare. I sometimes adjust it for my own needs, but generally it works well for me. What is very important for the sound in general is the room we play or record in. So my studio is quite a small room with walls and ceiling covered with a thick foam, mostly for soundproofing and isolating it from the rest of the building. So there's no natural room here and the sound is very dry. It works just for a couple settings, but usually I want to fix that by sending tracks to the artificial room channel, which opens up the sound. The last component of the sound I'd like to mention is your own sound. No matter what equipment you have, where you play or which microphones you use, there's always something unique about everyone's sound which comes from your mind and body. So 2 drummers on the same exact kit, in the same exact room, with exact same settings will never sound the same. They will sound different. It's not about buying equipment or building a studio. It's about working on your own sound, constantly looking for it and developing it. So it's a never-ending journey that requires a lot of attention, time and hard work. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it and the concept of my sound is clear to you now. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on social media or through the email address. Yeah, stay tuned for another tuning tutorials. Cheers!